Hello aspirants, my name is Deepika Reddy. I'm a verified educator on the Unacademy platform and a faculty for civil services. I've been teaching civil services for the past 9 years. I've not just taught students, but I've also played an important role in mentoring them, guiding students for the exam and all. So basically, I understand the issues and bottlenecks that students usually face in their uh, preparation. That is one thing that I specifically focus on. Now, today's orientation, the intention of this orientation is to tell you about my new Unacademy class course. It is on the General Studies paper 2 of your syllabus. In paper 2, we basically have three areas to put it simple, otherwise, it's divided into four. We have polity governance as one, social justice is the other, and international events is the third one. This course intends, the intention behind designing this course is to comprehensively cover all the three areas along with answer writing practice. That is the reason why the course is titled as General Studies Paper 2, Complete General Studies Paper 2 through 250 questions and answers is the course title. So I would first take you through what to expect out of this course, what are the benefits of taking this course, how will this course help you improve your preparation for the exam and so on. So let's look at the details of this course. Let me just open the PPT for you and I'll tell you what are the details of the course. Uh, as I said, we actually, when you look at the syllabus, you only have three areas. One is four areas. One is constitution and polity. The second is governance, and the third is international events. But we are going to look at polity and governance together, and the rest of it together. So let's first start discussing about the syllabus as such. Now, in this PPT title, you can find the name of the course. As I said, it is titled as 250 important questions and answers of General Studies Paper 2 through, complete General Studies Paper 2 will be taught in 250 questions and answers. Now, before I move on, my profile, I basically have already introduced myself, but the subjects that I deal with are Indian polity, Indian society. Social issues is nothing but your social justice topic that is there in paper 2, and then I also teach current affairs. These are my core areas. This is what I handle. Now moving on, before I start with the actual course, please remember that the Unacademy Plus course offers you live sessions. So the benefits is, one is a live session. Even if you miss a live session, you have access to a recorded video that you can see at any point of time. There is a dedicated discussion forum in the form of a Facebook page created exclusively for this particular group. In this Facebook page, any doubts, anything can be discussed, any discussion can be initiated. You can share each other's opinion, basically because this is a mains course. Then in the same Facebook page, I'm going to use that page to clear all your doubts whatsoever that you have. Apart from the Facebook page, also every day before I start the class, for 5 or 10 minutes, I'll first address all your doubts and then we begin with the class. And then you have a live quiz every week where whatever is covered in that one week, you'll be given questions, you are made to answer them. Live quiz is very, very important because it will help you understand how much are you following the course, what has been your improvement, how are you able to apply the knowledge that you gain from the course. For me, it is very important because I know where you stand with regard to understanding my classes and so on. So that will be the live quiz. And finally, every day you'll have a PPT or a handout sent out to you, a PDF sent out to you. Along with it, I'm going to give you specific areas where you have to study. There will be a few small questions that will be given to you on which I expect you all to work and get back for the next class. So this is the benefit of the Unacademy Plus course. Now, benefits of my course on paper 2 is what I'm going to discuss in this slide. See, I believe answer writing essentially requires a good conceptual clarity. For example, if at all there is a question on parliamentary committees, public accounts committee, you had a question last year. If at all you have a question on public accounts committee to talk about its significance, its contribution, the first thing that I have to know is, what is parliamentary system? Why are committees so important in parliamentary system? Only then I will be able to justify the role of back. Therefore, for all these three areas, a good conceptual clarity, if you are talking about international affairs, the background is essential for you to answer the question. So, my primary focus will be on building these concepts for you because it will help you answer and link the topics. What is the benefit of concept? See, without a base, concept is like ABCD of English. Without knowing ABCD, it is impossible for you to learn English. Similarly, without the concept, it is not possible for you to write answers. It's very, very important that you build on your concepts. Conceptual base is essential. Okay. Apart from that, the other benefit is, see, questions that are asked in your civil services, they are not asked only on a specific area. They often interlink areas, in fact, interlink subjects and ask you questions. In that context, it becomes very important that you are able to link up topics, and for linking up topics the right way, conceptual clarity is important. Then the next thing is, you, as I said earlier, you will get handouts for each class. So whatever is essential for you to prepare as far as GS is concerned, practically almost everything will be given for you in the classes. And then very, very important is approach to answer writing. Now, as I said in my introduction, one advantage that I've had over these years being a teacher, and before that I was a student myself, is I understand the bottlenecks, the problems that students face in terms of answer writing. I'm sure most of you would agree if I tell you that the most important and probably the biggest hurdle that I see in the students that you all might be facing is starting to write. The beginning of answer writing is a big problem because 75% students believe that they are not prepared to write answers, but I say that there is nothing like finishing preparation and writing answers. See, all these are seamless subjects. You cannot master them. Though I teach polity, you can ask any teacher for that matter, have they seen the end of the subject? Nobody sees the end of any of these subjects in general studies because they are seamless. So the point here is somewhere you have to make a beginning. So my primary focus will be on ensuring that you're making a beginning of answer writing practice. Now, this beginning, how do I ensure that you do this beginning? Now, the point here is answer writing practice should be done in a very planned manner, in a stepwise manner. The first thing that we do is we divide questions into two categories. The first type of questions are very simple and direct questions. The second category is the analytical or statement based questions that we say. Now, I'll give you a small example for you to understand this. I have two questions in my mind. First question says, what are the sources to the provisions of Indian Constitution, or detail the sources to the provision of to detail the sources of the provisions of the Indian Constitution. Now, detail the sources for the provisions in the Indian Constitution is a very direct question. You simply have to identify the sources, you have to identify the provisions. There we end it. Now, this is a simple and direct question. Now, the same thing, I will rephrase it and I'll say the Indian Constitution is a bag of borrowed materials. Comment. Now, if you notice, it is a statement based question, and my statement says the Constitution of India is a bag of borrowed materials. Comment. So, I should actually start telling that we have referred so many constitutions when we started making our constitution. We, in the sense, the Constituent Assembly. They had to refer so many constitutions because of this reason. And then we talk about the most important sources, then we talk about the other provisions. So this is how I'm going to structure the answer. So for this, what we have to do, in fact what I would do in this course is I will first start with your simple and direct questions. We're going to first focus on the simple and direct questions. The minute you're able to write the simple and direct questions, your confidence is, you'll get the confidence to start answering statement based questions. Guys, remember one thing: exam preparation is not just about acquiring knowledge, it's not just about studying, but it is also about every step you take towards the exam. You should ensure that you are building yourself up in terms of confidence. Every step that you take, that should boost your confidence, and it should not be an inflated confidence. It should be a confidence wherein it should be a confidence. It should not be an inflated confidence. It should be a confidence wherein you have really worked, and on the basis of your work you're getting confident about it. So that part is essential. Your confidence for this is very, very important, and that is the reason why we are going to do a stepwise take a stepwise approach towards practicing your answers. Now the next benefit is a comprehensive understanding of a topic. What do I mean by this? If I am taking a topic, it could be, for example, I take a topic like India ASEAN. India ASEAN is very, very important in the current context, that because India and ASEAN relationship has completed 25 years. And the last 1 year, we have been commemorating the completion of 25 years of our association with ASEAN. And this culminated in the form of the heads of the ASEAN countries being the chief guests for the Republic Day celebrations to 2018. Okay, so if at all I have to answer a question on India ASEAN, my first focus will be on what is ASEAN, what, when was it formed, why was it formed, what did it do till date, what are the major achievements or major steps that it had taken for the development of this country, what type of an organization is this. Once I'm clear with it, then I also should know about India's foreign policy. Okay, I should know how was India's foreign policy designed, what has been the priorities of our foreign policy at various point of time, and I should have a very clear idea about the look east policy. Once I'm clear about the look east policy, then I'll be in a position to say what will be the role of ASEAN, our relationship with ASEAN, and to what extent will it impact, or to what extent does it contribute to India's look east policy. So these could be the questions, and for that I need a complete understanding about India's foreign policy. I need to have a complete understanding about ASEAN, and once I develop an understanding of these two topics, then I will start actually looking at the different questions that can be asked and how do I answer these questions. So that is what I meant by comprehensive understanding of a topic. We are going to start with A and end it with Z. We have to know every detail, every basic concept, everything which is basic associated with that particular topic, and then we go on to build the questions. So that was the idea behind saying that you'll have a comprehensive understanding of a topic. Then coverage of current based issues is very, very important, because in polity, 50 to 60%, if the questions are static, then 40 to 50% are going to be dynamic. I'm going to give you the statistics next. So because of this, it's not just the static area that we are going to cover, we are also going to cover the current based issues. I mean, we are going to specifically focus on current affairs. And questions followed by structure of the answer. Whenever I finish a topic, I give you the basis for the topic, I give you all the details about the topic, I will tell you all the probable questions that can be asked on that particular topic. I'll tell you the structure for each of these questions. However, you have to write the answers and get back. Once you write the answers and get back to me, I will evaluate and give you the feedback. See, I personally would recommend evaluation and feedback rather than model answers, because model answers will not help you assess your personal performance. They will only give you an idea as to how you have to write the answer, which I'm already giving in terms of the structure of the answer. When I give you the structure, I'll tell you how to start the answer, I'll tell you the points that you have to cover in the question according to the question, and I'll tell you how to conclude it. I will in fact tell you how to understand the question in the first place. So we are going to discuss all this when I discuss the structure of the answer. However, the writing part, giving that structure a shape of an answer, should be done by you all. And when I evaluate and give it, you will understand where you're lacking. What are your positives and negatives in terms of answer writing? Where should you improve? It will help you, trust me, it will help you a lot in building your answer writing, and it also will build your confidence simultaneously. So that is the reason why questions, structure of the answer, and evaluation and feedback will be an essential part of this particular course. Now moving on, see, as I said, we are going to, for our purpose and convenience, we are going to look at three broad categories. We're going to divide the entire paper into three broad categories. Indian polity and governance is the first category. And as I said, 50% to 60% will be static questions, 40 to 50% will be based on current affairs. So we are going to cover both the static part as well as current part. Now, for you to understand this, 2017 questions, the first one was on, these are the questions that were asked on polity. The first one was on National Judicial Appointment Commission. National Judicial Appointment Commission was declared invalid, unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in 2016. Therefore, this question was asked in 2017, so it is current based. Okay. This is also current based. It talks about simultaneous elections to Lok Sabha and state assemblies. There has been a widespread discussion about simultaneous elections to both these, so it is also current based. But this on PAC is static. It is not current based. It is a static question that has been asked on the work of PAC. Now, moving on, the next question. If I explain the salient features of the Constitution, 101st Constitutional Amendment Act is about GST. This is current based because GST has come into force then. Fundamental rights and scope of right to privacy is very important. This was one of the most important judgments made by the Supreme Court last year. So the question is based on the judgment. It is also current based. Indian Constitution provides for joint sitting. Joint sitting, this is completely static. It is not current, but it is static. Now moving on, the next one. Election Commission has submitted electoral reforms, paper on electoral reforms in 2016 December. This question is based on it, therefore it is current. Pressure groups are static, whereas local self-government in India, they have not been an effective instrument, and suggest why they failed in governance and what could be done to improve them is also static. And then civil services in India were designed to achieve the goals of neutrality and effectiveness, which seems to be lacking in the present context. So, this is linking the static part with the current part. Neutrality and effectiveness are the characteristics, features of civil services in India. And these have been imbibed in our constitution and these form the basis for the performance, the functions of civil services. However, these have been compromised off late, the statement says, and you have to write how they are not being implemented thoroughly and what reforms should be done in the civil services to address these, to ensure that these are followed properly. Okay, so this is where you have to know about neutrality, you have to know about effectiveness, you have to know about the basis for civil services and then link it to the current context. Where are the loopholes and then answer the question. So, this is both static as well as current. Now, moving on, the next area that we are going to discuss is social justice. Social justice, we have 20 to 30% of it is going to be static. The remaining 70 to 80% is going to be dynamic. In social justice, I'm going to address, I have divided this syllabus into four areas. The first will be basic concepts or terms. See, you have to know things like what is social justice, what is social inclusion, exclusion, what do you mean by social inequality, what are social resources, gender equality, empowerment, emancipation, all these terms we use in social justice. So it is important for us to understand these terms. So the first part of our approach to this will be the basic terms, after which we are going to discuss about the vulnerable sections. Concept of vulnerability I will discuss in vulnerable sections. Concept of vulnerability I will discuss in basic terms. In vulnerable sections, we are going to identify all the vulnerable sections, which are women, children, SC, ST, OBC, minorities, senior citizens, disabled, we call them as the Divyang, LGBT. All these are considered as vulnerable people in India. And for all these communities, I need to know the constitutional safeguards. So there will be an overlap with polity. The legal safeguards given to them. What are the institutions that work for their progress? National Commission for Women, National Commission for SC, ST, and so on. And then we have to know about the issues, the current issues related to these set of people, and what are the measures that are already available, what are the new suggestions that we can give in order to address these issues. One burning problem that India has is honor killing. It is related to women. In fact, recently Supreme Court also gave a judgment on honor killing and Khap Panchayat. So, we have to know about honor killing. What is honor killing? Why does it happen in India? Why are we calling it as a social problem? Why should it not be there? What is the impact? Okay, where are we failing? Why do we have so much of honor killing? What does our law say? And finally, what are the measures to be taken in order to address this problem of honor killing? This is how we have to prepare on every issue connected to each of these categories. When we talk about children, child sexual abuse is very, very important for this year. And whenever you have any social problem like this in news, usually the trend has been that UPSC will ask you questions on the law related to that social problem. So there could be a question on Prevention of Child Sexual Abuse Act. and Child Sexual Offences Act and its effectiveness in addressing child sexual abuse. So, like this, we have to prepare on all issues related to them, the laws that are there, the measures taken by the government. See, measures can also be, we are going to include schemes and policies here, but along with schemes and policies, we are also going to make some suggestions as to what should be done. Okay, and the third area that we are going to discuss in social justice is the social sector. Social sector will be education, health, employment, and so on. Okay, now all these, when we are discussing, the backdrop to this will be concepts like poverty, hunger, malnourishment, and so on. So, we are going to discuss about their meaning, the measures that we have in India worldwide to know where we stand with regard to these parameters, whatever measures have been taken by the government till date. We are going to analyze the schemes and policies made by the government in this sector, to what extent have they been effective, what has been their impact, and how to improve further. So this will be the third part. And the fourth part, the last part, is going to be about other areas, like you have topics like self-help groups, NGOs, developmental process, and so on. So I'm going to discuss all these together in one, as one part of social justice. So this is about social justice. These are the questions that have been asked. SHGs is static area. WASH scheme is dynamic. We had to analyze the WASH scheme. Then Persons with Disabilities Act. I told you they'll ask you about the acts. This is dynamic. It was in news, current related. Good governance does not practically come here, but good governance is in governance. Basically, National Commission for Women is static. Poverty alleviation programs, this is again an analysis of the poverty alleviation programs. This is also static. Now, these are the questions that were asked in social justice. The last part of our syllabus will be international affairs. In international affairs, basically, we're going to discuss about the static and the dynamic part. You'll have more dynamic part in international affairs. The approach is going to be like this. First, I'm going to talk about the basics in terms of what is international affairs, what is geopolitics, why are international affairs important, what do we mean by the term international relations, and then we are going to talk about the evolution of India's foreign policy. Then we are going to talk about India and neighbors, the different countries around India, there are relationship with those countries. Then we are going to talk about India and the world, the other countries like America, EU, Africa, and so on. Then we are going to discuss about international institutions. It could be IGOs, NGOs, and so on. And then we are going to discuss about India and these institutions. Okay. India, ASEAN, India and BRICS, all this is going to come under India and these institutions. The last topic will be what is the effect of the various policies of different governments on India, Indian diaspora. Indian diaspora is there as a separate topic. So, a sample question will be what will be the impact of US protectionist policies on Indian diaspora? So, these questions will be answered in international events, and the questions that were asked previously were related to China as using its economic relation and positive trade surplus as tools to develop potential military power. This is basically related to the string of pearls theory that we discuss often in news. We find often in news about China building its military power surrounding India. So this is dynamic. United Nations Economic and Social Council has been constantly in news. It is static in nature. Question of India's energy security constitutes the most important part of India's economic progress. So this is again dynamic in nature. Indian diaspora has an important role to play. This is again dynamic in nature. So usually on international affairs, you get more dynamic questions than static questions. This is about the orientation on this particular course. What you can do is, in the same page where you have the video put up, you have the 45 sessions that I've planned for this course. You have the details of the 45 sessions. What will be taught in each session is also mentioned. So you can go through that and understand the course. The seats will be limited for this particular course because answer writing and correction, we intend to limit the number of admissions that we are going to give for this particular course. So if you're interested, please enroll as early as possible. Thank you.